Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome learners. In this lecture today of the Unit 4 of Open Economy, we will be talking about the exchange rates. Let us see that what we are going to discuss in this lecture. First of all, we'll understand the meaning and the types of exchange rates. Thereafter, we will learn about the relationship between exchange rates and trade balance. Just to give you a recap, in the previous lectures, we have derived the national income identity in an open economy, wherein we had said in a small open economy, the net exports is equal to the net capital outflows. How are the net capital outflows measured? Net capital outflow is the difference between savings and investment. Hence, we had said that net exports is equal to savings minus investments. We had also discussed in the previous lectures that in a small open economy, the change in the world market rate of interest has an impact on this economy, and therefore it might lead to a disequilibrium between savings and investments. And this gap of saving and investment may result in a trade deficit or a trade surplus. Therein, we had understood that how the rate of interest leads to a change in capital outflow or capital inflow in an economy. Today, we will be taking further how the net exports in an economy gets impacted, and for that, it is necessary that we understand the meaning of exchange rates and then understand the relationship between trade balance given by the net exports with the exchange rates. So, let us see that what is an exchange rate first of all. Learners, exchange rate is defined as the rate between two countries, price at which residents of those countries trade with each other. So, what is exchange rate? Exchange rate between the two countries is the price at which residents of those countries trade with each other. Or in simple words, it is that rate in which currency of one country gets converted into the currency of another country. So, these exchange rates which we have said can be classified into nominal exchange rate or real exchange rate. Again I repeat, what is an exchange rate? Exchange rate is basically talking about the trading of currencies of two different countries, and the price at which these two currencies are traded means they are exchanged, is called as the rate of exchange, as the name itself is indicating. That is, you are converting currency of one country into the currency of another country, and the rate at which this conversion is taking place is known as exchange rate. Now, these exchange rates, as we have just said, are classified into nominal exchange rate, or they can be classified as real exchange rates. So, these are the two broad types of exchange rates which we will be discussing in this lecture. So, now let us go to what is a nominal exchange rate. Nominal exchange rate is defined as the number of units of the domestic currency that can purchase a unit of a given foreign currency. That is, if you want to buy 1 unit of any foreign currency which is given to you, for buying that unit, 1 unit of foreign currency, how many units of domestic currency we have to give is called as nominal exchange rate. Again I say, what is nominal exchange rate? It is defined as the number of units of the domestic currency that can purchase a unit of a given foreign currency. That is, we are talking about currency of two different countries. One is our home country, for which we are saying it is a domestic currency. Other is the currency of the foreign nation, which we are calling it as foreign currency. Now, if you want to buy 1 unit of this foreign currency, for that, how many units of domestic currency you have to give is known as your nominal exchange rate. This example will help you understand this definition further. For instance, we are saying if INR, that is Indian National Rupees is 80 rupees per US dollar. If you get a quote like this, INR 80 per US dollar. In this case, learners, if we are in India, what is our domestic currency? It is INR, Indian National Rupee. And what is the foreign currency in this case? It is US dollar. So if you are seeing a quote like this, which you very commonly see when you visit a bank or you go through the newspapers, many times it is in the headlines also. So this is basically giving you rate, that is if you want to buy $1 of a foreign currency, in this case it is US dollar, how many INR you are going to pay? You are going to pay 80 Indian National Rupee to get $1. So if this kind of a rate refers to the foreign exchange rate of Indian rupee in terms of US dollars, that is for $1, one given foreign currency, how many units of domestic currency we are paying? How much are we paying? For $1, we are paying 80 rupees. Okay, so this is called as nominal exchange rate. Generally, and as a standard practice, when people refer to exchange rate between two countries, they mean the nominal exchange rates. That is, whatever rates quotations we see in the newspapers, in the TVs, or we go to the bank and take those quotes. So those rates or those quotations which are given to you for the domestic currency with respect to foreign currency, those are generally the nominal exchange rates. So in layman language, whenever we talk about exchange rate, we are talking about nominal exchange rate. What is nominal exchange rate? It is the number of units of domestic currency that we are paying in order to take 1 unit of the foreign currency. Now learners, it is not like that this rate of exchange remains same always. For example, in this case, INR 80 is equal to $1. It is not necessary that this will remain the same. This rate of exchange may keep on changing. And this change of rate of exchange is termed as either appreciation of the currency or it may be termed as the depreciation of the currency. Now let us understand both these terms. What do you mean by appreciation and what do we mean by depreciation of a currency? When domestic currency buys more foreign currency than before, it is known as appreciation of the domestic currency. That is, if your domestic currency has an ability to buy greater foreign currency, then we call it as appreciation. For example, if Indian National Rupee INR buys more of foreign currency, it is called as appreciation of INR. Let us say in our previous example, we had said that $1 is equal to 80 INR. Now that means that for taking $1, you have to pay 80 rupees. Now let us say you go to the bank today and bank tells you, now the dollar rate is for $1 you have to pay me 75 rupees. This means that Indian National Rupee can buy more of dollar because instead of paying 80 rupees for $1, now you are paying 75 rupees. So $1 is equal to 75 rupees now. Earlier it was 80 rupees. This means that the value of your home currency, that is INR, has appreciated. your INR has a capacity to buy more foreign currency with the same amount of money than it was previously doing. That is known as appreciation. Opposite of appreciation is the depreciation of the currency. What is depreciation? If the domestic currency can buy less of the foreign currency than before, it is known as depreciation of your domestic currency. Please pay attention to the word depreciation of the domestic currency. When does depreciation take place? When your domestic currency can buy less of the foreign currency than it was doing previously, then we will call it as depreciation. For example, if INR buys less of foreign currency than before, then we will say INR has depreciated. Continuing with the same example, if initially the rate of exchange between INR and US dollar was 80 rupees per dollar, and now we see that the rate of exchange becomes 85 rupees per dollar, what does it mean? That is, earlier I was paying 80 rupees for $1. Now I have to pay 5 rupees more, that is 85 rupees per dollar. So your rupee has lost some value. That loss of value in converting INR to US dollar is called as depreciation. So that is the difference between appreciation and depreciation. The second type of rate of exchange which we have is called as real exchange rate. Now in a real exchange rate, we not only talk about the conversion rate at which you are converting or exchanging domestic currency to foreign currency, we also consider that what is the price level in both the countries. So, the real exchange rate is the relative price of the goods of two countries. That is, it is comparing if you are going to buy a similar thing in home country and similar thing in a foreign country, then what is the difference in the price level, whether you can buy more in your home currency or whether you can buy less in your home currency in the foreign market. So, real exchange rate basically tells us the rate at which we can trade the goods of one country for the goods of another country. Whereas in nominal exchange rate, we had just seen that if you want to trade one currency instead of another, at what rate it is trading, at what rate you are exchanging rupee to dollar. But here you are talking about how much goods can you purchase in one country for the goods of the other country. So here, whenever we are talking about real exchange rate, we are talking about units of goods which you can purchase goods of one country for the goods of another country. This we are doing by comparing the price level in both the countries. So, the real exchange rate is therefore sometimes referred to as terms of trade. Why? Because here you are comparing the price of goods or price level in one country to the price level in another country. The real rate, in simple words, tell us how many times more or less goods and services can be purchased abroad than in the domestic market for a given amount. That is, if you are purchasing a similar baskets of goods and services in your domestic market and you try to buy the similar baskets of goods in a foreign country, then using your currency, whether you can buy more of that goods and services or you can buy less of goods and services is determined by the real rate of exchange. This particular example here will make it very simple for you to understand. I know that all my learners must be loving pizzas. So I'm taking this example of pizzas. Suppose an American pizza costs $20. That is, if you buy a pizza of, let us say, Pizza Hut in America, it costs you $20. And the same pizza in India's Pizza Hut costs you INR 400. So, you go to Pizza Hut America, you buy the same pizza, it is costing you $20, or if an American is buying the same pizza in his country, he is paying $20. And in India, if an Indian is going to Pizza Hut to buy pizza, that costs rupees 400. Goods are the same. If the nominal rate of exchange in India for $1 is 80 rupees, that is, you have to pay 80 rupees to get $1, then if an Indian is going to US and going to Pizza Hut to buy this pizza, how much in INR he will have to pay? He knows that that pizza is going to cost him $20. But $1 for me is equal to 80 rupees. This means in INR for that pizza, I am paying 1600 rupees. 80 rupees is my nominal rate of exchange, rupee dollar rate, and $20 is the cost of pizza. So 80 multiplied by 20 will give you 1600, means your INR is 1600. That is, for the pizza you are going to pay in America 1600 in terms of Indian rupees. Because you are going to see that what is going to be the difference in the cost here. Comparing the price of the same pizza in American market and in Indian market, what do we see? We see that in America, the same pizza costed you 1600 rupees and in the Indian market, it costed you 400 rupees. This means that as an Indian, to an Indian, the American pizza will cost 4 times more than the Indian pizza. That is, for the same pizza in India, you were paying 400, but there you are paying 1600 because there is a dollar rate of 80 rupees per dollar. So, dollar is expensive. Hence, when we are converting dollar into rupees, we are paying more. So what it is telling us? It is telling us that when we are exchanging goods and services, similar goods and services in the domestic market compared to the foreign market, how much more or less of that good you are going to get. Okay, so that is real exchange rate. Again, we have a look at it. So a real exchange rate between the two countries, therefore, can be computed from three things. One, the nominal exchange rate, as in our example, we saw the nominal exchange rate of 80 rupees per dollar, and the price level in both the countries, in the two countries. That is, you are comparing the price level of domestic market with the price level of the foreign market and multiplying it with the nominal exchange rate, and what you get is called as real exchange rate. So, real exchange rate, that is RER, is equal to nominal exchange rate given by NER multiplied by P, for example, is here the domestic price, upon P star, which is the foreign price. So, RER, as we said, is the real exchange rate, NER is the nominal exchange rate, P is your domestic price level, and P star is the foreign price level. So, the price ratio of the domestic market to the foreign market multiplied by the nominal exchange rate will give us the real exchange rate. Now, let us see again this equation which we had just made. Real exchange rate is equal to nominal exchange rate multiplied by the price ratio, that is price level of the domestic market divided by the price level of the foreign market. Now let us see that what happens. Suppose this NER is fixed. Let us assume there is no change in nominal exchange rate. And if the domestic price increases, if your P increases more than the change in your foreign market price level in your domestic market is changing more, than there is an increase in price level in both the markets, let us say, but the price level increase in the domestic market is more than the increase in price level in the foreign market. So the change in numerator, that is P, is more than the change in denominator, that is P star. What will happen to your real exchange rate? Going by the simple calculation and simple logic, because of this change in P and P star, your real exchange rate given by RER will increase. So your real exchange rate pull up is increase, and assuming NER is constant. With an increase in real exchange rate, what does this mean? This means that your domestically produced goods have become expensive than the same goods being produced in the foreign market. So compared to the foreign market goods, your domestic goods price has increased or they have become expensive. What will happen? This is an open economy. We can buy goods from outside also, or we can import goods also. So domestically produced goods have become expensive compared to the goods which are being produced in the foreign market. Because of this, there will be a less incentive to buy these domestically produced goods. The demand for the domestically produced goods will fall, and we will substitute these domestically expensive goods with cheaper imported goods. So it will have an impact on our trade deficit, or it will have an impact on our trade balance, because imports will increase and exports will decrease because of the change in price level in the domestic market. Similarly, again let us assume that instead of domestic prices increasing, domestic price decrease. If there is a decrease in domestic price level, we see rate of exchange rate will fall and a reverse reaction will take place. Goods at domestic market will become cheaper. This would mean more of exports, and hence your trade balance will improve, or you will have a trade surplus. Simple example I am giving you. A low real exchange rate, that is a fall in a real exchange rate, would mean domestic goods become cheaper compared to foreign goods. This will encourage consumption both at home and abroad of domestically produced goods. So exports will increase, imports will decline. Therefore, domestic economy will see rise in exports, fall in imports, and hence a real exchange rate would lead to a change in your net exports. A reverse reaction may take place if your real exchange rates, instead of being low, become high, and there your exports will fall, and this would lead to your fall in net exports. So this is how the prices in the domestic market and international market, along with the nominal exchange rate, has an impact on your trade balance. Now let us see the relationship between real exchange rate and net exports. We have understood it. Now let us see it graphically. Now this particular figure is showing you a downward sloping curve of net exports, and we are seeing real exchange rate being measured on the y-axis and net exports on the x-axis. A downward sloping curve means there is an inverse relationship between real exchange rates and net exports, meaning when the real exchange rate is high, net exports are less than 0, or we see less of exports and more of imports. When your real exchange rate is low, we see your net exports being positive. So as we just said, a rise in real exchange rate would mean domestic goods become expensive relative to foreign goods. This would mean fall in exports and increase in imports. Therefore, you will see a fall in net exports. More imports, less exports, net exports may become negative, or it may become a trade deficit if earlier you were having a trade balance. The net exports function, what does it mean? That the net exports function is an inverse relationship between net exports and real exchange rate, which is being shown by this downward sloping curve. That is, when your real exchange rate is high, net exports are less. That is, you see a negative balance. Whereas if your rate of exchange is low, you see a positive net exports balance. So the net exports function reflects an inverse relationship between net exports and real exchange rates. Till this, we were talking about the relationship between net exports and exchange rates. If you remember, in the previous lecture, we had given an equation of net exports equal to net capital outflows, that is, net exports is equal to savings minus investment. Now, in order to find the equilibrium real exchange rate, we will be using that equation, and it will solve a lot of questions which we had left unanswered in the previous lecture. This figure, if you see, it is again talking about y-axis the real exchange rate and net exports on the x-axis. Net exports curve is downward sloping, that is, it is showing an inverse relationship between real exchange rates and net exports. You also see a vertical line of S minus I. What is S minus I? S minus I is net capital outflow, savings minus investment. You see it's a vertical line. Why is it a vertical line? Because savings and investments are not getting affected by real exchange rates. How does saving and investment get affected? They get affected or they get determined by the rate of interest that we have understood in the previous lecture. But we are saying, let us say this is S minus I. This is giving us net capital outflow. This is a vertical straight line, means this is as it is. There is no impact of the real exchange rate on this. Now, as we just said, saving and investment line is vertical, whereas net exports is downward sloping, giving an inverse relationship between RER and net exports. The equilibrium rate of exchange is at a point E, where net exports line is intersecting with net capital outflow line. Means at point E, net exports is equal to savings minus investments. If net exports is 0, then saving minus investment, that gap is also equal to 0. Or in other words, when net exports is 0, at that point, then the savings become equal to investment. There is no capital outflow, there is no capital inflow. So, we are saying the equilibrium real exchange rate, the supply of dollars in case of India, if you are talking about US as foreign currency, then available from net capital outflow balances the demand for dollars by foreigners buying our net exports. So at equilibrium, this S minus I, that is net capital outflow, becomes equal to net exports. But above point E, we see a higher real exchange rate. Therefore, their net exports are negative. Below E, net exports are positive. Another way of looking at it is that when net exports are negative, means at a higher real exchange rate, when we see your exports getting expensive, you see here, because domestically produced gets expensive, exports are less, so there is a trade balance gap. Or we will be importing goods which are less expensive abroad. So when you are importing, means you are spending money outside. You are leading to a capital outflow. Money is flowing out of your country because you find domestic goods to be expensive and foreign goods to be cheaper. So you buy foreign goods by importing them. When you are importing, you are spending money on other people's goods. So money is outflowing of your economy. Therefore, you see net capital outflow to be negative and vice versa. So, summarizing whatever we have done today is, we have said that exchange rates can be nominal or they can be real. Then, what is real exchange rate? We have said real exchange rate equals the nominal rate of exchange multiplied by the ratio of the prices of the two countries. Remember the formula? We said RER is equal to net exchange rate multiplied by price in the domestic market divided by price in the foreign market. So, we are saying that the real exchange rate is determined by the nominal rate of exchange and the price level in the two countries of which we are talking about. Then we said that real exchange rate has an impact on the net exports, which we also called as trade balance. And real exchange rate, remember we had said it is also called as terms of trade because it is giving a ratio of price level between two countries. So net exports, we said, depends negatively on the real exchange rate, other things being equal. For example, we had assumed nominal rate of exchange to be equal. If that happens, then net exports shows a negative relationship between with the real exchange rate. we say the real exchange rate adjusts to equate NX with the net capital outflow. Going by the same equation, that is NX is equal to S minus I, the point where NX becomes equal to S minus I, that is the point where the real exchange rate will become at equilibrium. So students, this is how we can understand that how an open economy not only gets affected by the rate of interest, but it also gets affected by its own price level. As we had told in the previous lecture also, the policy implications are that if a country decides to have a higher, lower trade balance, it will somewhere translate into a change in its capital flow equilibrium also. So, both the factor product market and the financial market are closely related to each other. So, remember this equation and try to use it whenever you hear something about the rate of exchange or the exports and imports by way of trade balance. Thank you.